welcome to another metal detecting adventure, and this one really is an adventure because I'm going somewhere I have never been before. I've got a brand new permission. I have quite close to where I live a farm which produces a lot of vegetables and it's all arable basically. Every Christmas they do a veg box scheme. It's usually the day before Christmas Eve. You drive up there and you collect the box from the farmer who's grown everything. Beautiful fresh kale and fresh red cabbage and potatoes and carrots and all the things you need, parsnips, all the things you need for a Christmas dinner. To leave the farm they drive you through the cow barn. It's the most Christmassy thing you can imagine, to go through almost like a manger. In the summer I thought I'm ready for a new commission, so I took my own advice and I wrote to her. I said, hello, I have your number because I'm one of your veg box customers. I am a lady detectorist and I was wondering if there might be a paddock or a field that might not be in use that I might be able to walk with my detector. She said, oh, that sounds interesting. Does that mean digging holes? And I said, well, it's more walking than digging, and it's a real labour of love and takes a lot of patience. She said if you could come back in September it would be a better time because by then we'll have harvested a lot of our crops. So I came back in September and asked, and we've been going back and forth for a few weeks about it. So I went up there yesterday with my family. We bought a load of pumpkins and I thought I'm going to go and say hello and just put a face to a message, and they were both just lovely. He said, yep, you can do the field just over from this one. Oh, and the one next door. Oh, and in fact there are 3 on the other side of the lane. I don't mind you doing those either. We are in a very interesting historical area. On one promontory of the coast you've got an Iron Age settlement, a Romano-British settlement, and above that Bronze Age and Neolithic burial mounds. And then all the way along the edge of the coast you've got little communities, little villages. Each one has a very old medieval church. We know the same as each other. We know nothing at the moment. I love this bit, getting to know a new place. So we're in a valley here, and this is the high point of the valley. I can see the sea just there in the distance. It's about half a mile away. Looks very moody today. Great news, I've just checked on my compass and I can see that this down slope is facing southeast, and we know that that's a very popular farming orientation for Romans who lived very close to here. We're up on the highest part of that, so it doesn't flood up here and it faces to the southeast, so this could be a really great field. I'm going to start in here, why not? Start in field 1. Okay, we have got a first signal already, and it's this little thing in here. A button. Great sign already. There's a kind of salt mist coming in off the sea there. You can actually taste it in the air. So I'm walking this edge now. I've just walked down the hill. Well, I recognise the shape of this find more than anything else. This is was a horsebrass, I think. I recognise the shape of it with those cut corners. It's probably a Victorian one. Right behind me I can see the ruins of an old dwelling. Should we go and explore it? So fun, isn't it? I can see a little window there, and up there a chimney. There's a little hole in the wall like a dovecot. Oh my god, there's a door. Should we go in? Above the window or door, I think that's a window, there's a wooden lintel. And here's the door. Wow. I have to say this is the first time I've found an old house on any land that I've been detecting. Look, there's the fireplace. And above it, an aperture. I don't know what that's for. Look at this end and a window. I'm going to go here. There's no roof, so I don't need to worry about anything collapsing on me, but wow, it's amazing to be in here. And to imagine that this little space was someone's home. It's very small. It measures about 3 metres by about 5. Do you know what? I should probably have brought my detector in here, because I bet there's all sorts in here. The roof must have collapsed. The timbers above the window are rotten. I don't know if there would have been an upstairs floor, because I don't see any. Oh yes, there's some. Oh yes, okay, I can see there are holes in the wall there, which suggest there must have been joists running across. So that hole was probably another fireplace there in the upstairs room. So perhaps a very simple one up, one down. Wow. Highlight of the day so far. I'm going to be very careful as I go through this door, because I don't want anything to collapse on me. So already we know people living here, just on the edge of this field where I'm detecting. Definitely going to come back here and detect around this little house. But for now, let's get back into the field and see what we can find. People that lived in that little house just there, where the chimneys are sticking up, just there, they must have been simple folk farming the land, fishing for their supper, growing their own food. You know, that button that I just found is pretty much the same era as that little house. Hey, I know what this is. It's a weight. It's made of lead. That's a trading weight. And we are not far from the sea here. I love this permission already, because the house itself, the little tumble down cottage, is already telling me stories. It's so easy to imagine people living there. The fireplace is still there, and the window looking out up the valley. It's amazing to think that maybe a whole family lived in that little space and farmed the land here. I'm excited to have found the little weight. To me it feels about half the size of the weight that I found that was marked with a 1 for £1, but actually weighed slightly less than a pound. This one seems about half the size, so it's about a £1/2 weight, I think. And maybe that was used also at the pilchard market, because there's a little port close by where pilchards used to be sold. You can kind of imagine life here, can't you? Long ago. This is what I love about this hobby. It's just brilliant. Well, there's the house, and here's my next find, somewhere in here. There's another 1p. I think it's not a 1p, it's older than that. I've used my magnifier and I can now see that it is in fact a 6p from 1948. Just a post-war 6p. Little pit stop. I got a bit too hot and I had to go and peel off some layers. I've just had a quick look at the maps on the National Library of Scotland, and I can see that the earliest map for this area, which is dated 1885, does show that little building, and it obviously had a little garden that went with it, and there's a footpath the other side of that hedge that I was detecting on. Now, I don't know if that belongs to this farm. It's got some livestock in it. I noticed there was a cow and a horse in there randomly, just one of each. It's the field which the little window looks out across, so obviously the footpath ran between that little building and the next farm along, and whoever was coming along the footpath would be able to be seen but through the little window. So at the very latest it will have been a Victorian cottage, and I can see some red brick has been added to the chimney stack, so maybe an alteration in the Victorian era. But the rest of the farm here has buildings as early as the 16th century, so 1500s, and then later barns are added as well. So I would imagine somewhere between 1600s and 1800s, that little building. So there should be some great stuff to find here. I've just spotted something. There's the little house. Behind that hedge is the footpath that takes it to the next farm. I don't know if you can see this. But there is a church. And I've just found a signal. Hard to say for sure, but I have found a few of these, and I think this is a part of a bell. It's got the same kind of shape to it, and weight and colour. It's got the same curve as well. A kind of bell that looks a bit like a school bell, if you know what I mean. Okay, it's time to go home, and I'll show you why. That is the sea. See that ship out there? Well, apart from the sparkly line on the horizon, the sea is telling me the weather is changing. Really nice signal here. The soil is lovely to dig, and it's red. Devon red. A lovely little artefact. I don't know what it is. It's got a hole all the way through it there, and it almost looks like, I mean, I can see a cockerel, but I'm probably just imagining that. It's lovely, isn't it? It's got a kind of green colour to it, so definitely made of a kind of copper alloy material. I want to poke this through, but the straw here is slightly rotten. Don't think it's going to work, to be honest. I did it. So yeah, it's got a hole all the way through it. Don't quite know what it is. Is it broken, or is that its design? Is it a cockerel? Well, what a great afternoon, first afternoon on this permission, with the sea sparkling behind me. There's obviously been people living here, people working here. I can see a church over there, I can see the sea behind me. I've already found a weight, a bell, a couple of fragments of bits and pieces, obviously a slightly newer sixpence from the 1940s. There's obviously been people moving around here. Actually, as Devon fields go, this has had quite a lot of footfall, quite an interesting place to come and detect. So I'll do it in real time. You've seen my first session here, and we'll come back and we'll see how this develops. Hello again, everyone. Why am I in a graveyard the day after making this little find? I put this little find out to the community and said, am I imagining things, or does this look like a cockerel? And straight away several people came back and said, no, you're not imagining it. That is definitely a zoomorphic barrel tap. The hole in the middle of it is where the beer would have come through, and you twist the tap to close the beer off and open it again. to let it flow. And I started to research, where can I find out more about the symbol of the cockerel in medieval England? And it turns out just up the road from where I live is this incredible church with the oldest weathervane in England. On the very top of the north spire there is a rooster like this one, which is dating back to much the same kind of time. Three o'clock. So there it is. It dates back to the 1340s, so possibly actually slightly earlier than the find that I've made. I wanted to see if the rooster motif matched, and I think it does in lots of ways. It's very close. It's got a very naive style, very simplified. So I'm really pleased that I came. I've learnt a bunch of things about roosters in the last day. And one is that it's a symbol for medieval people of vigilance. They were put on church towers to watch over the town or the village. Because they crow in the night, they're seen as a symbol of watchfulness. The cockerel has a religious significance as well because of the story of the denial of St. Peter. Peter was one of Jesus' 12 apostles, and at the Last Supper, Jesus predicted Peter would deny him 3 times before the rooster crowed. And that is in fact exactly what happened, after which Peter burst into tears and repented. So it's the 2 parts of the story are known as the denial of St. Peter and the repentance of St. Peter. So this little find is wrapped up with so much symbolism. I recognised it immediately as a bird shape, but our medieval predecessors would have recognised it for a different kind of symbol. It would have had religious significance and also been a symbol of watchfulness that they would recognise from church towers all around this area and all over England. Well, I don't probably need to tell you how delighted I am with this little find. To find something that is zoomorphic is really quite special. I think most detectorists would agree that finding things that look like recognisable animals from many, many centuries ago is a real find. I hope you've enjoyed going to a new permission for the first time. I hope you've enjoyed discovering more about this little find and coming to this wonderful place that sings very, very old weathervane. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. Do subscribe if you haven't already, and maybe leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about my little rooster.